really excited about today's show because, Stuart, I think I told you about this when we were on a call. I found out about Ao2 Clear when I was listening to another podcast, and it was more of a natural podcast. And it's two doctors, and it's a doctor and a nurse practitioner, and they go back and forth and they try to figure out what's going on. And the nurse practitioner said, well, one natural thing that you can do is try this product, Ao2 Clear. And she just kind of breezed over it super fast. And as an esthetician, when I hear a new product and she was explaining to me very briefly, I was like, oh, I'm going to look that up. I immediately looked it up, and you had me at like nanobubbles and oxygen. And I purchased it before even reaching out to you guys. And I like to use the product myself. Did I tell you that? I think I did.
I don't think I heard that story before. So interesting.
Okay. So that's how I found out about you guys. And I just think it is such an innovative product. And I am so excited to hear how you started this product. You're the founder of it. What led you to create this?
Well, we actually, I've been in marketing and e-commerce for over 25 years, and I was helping a nanophysicist who had personally developed a condition called diabetic peripheral neuropathy. And that is a lack of oxygen getting to your nerve endings, creating pain and tingling in your extremities, in your feet and in your hands. And he, as a nanophysicist and a very curious guy, went ahead and started to explore how to get oxygen to his nerve endings transdermally. And he has over 300 patents, and he went ahead and he developed a nanobubble that is 1/1000th the size of a pore, and he suspended that nanobubble of oxygen in gel. He started soaking his feet in it, and he realized that he had something. Because his pain and tingling were starting to get relief as a therapy. And I helped him along with my partner bring it to market. And my partner and I said, there's something else here. And we met Valerie, Dr. Hanft, and she helped us develop Ao2 as a product that is for your face, for treating your skin with nanobubbles, billions of nanobubbles of oxygen. And so that's kind of how the story came about. It was a totally different use. And again, sometimes, you develop an application and it gets used for something totally different. But oxygen is a very powerful tool.
I want to name that product because we talked about this. I immediately sent that to my mother because my dad is a diabetic and suffers from neuropathy in his feet. It's actually all the way up to his knees. And so what was the name of that again? I sent it to her.
It's the company is called Parafex, and the product is called NoxyPure.
NoxyPure. Okay. Yes. So I'll put that in the show notes too, because I just think that could reach a lot of people if their parents suffer or if they're suffer from that with diabetes. So Dr. Hanft, I didn't realize that you were in the development of the product too.
Yeah, it was totally by chance. I knew somebody who knew the nanophysicist, and he put us in touch, and we just met at a coffee shop, and he's like, what other applications are there? And the first thing that came to mind for me was acne because of the pathophysiology of acne and the type of bacteria involved. And since our launch, we've discovered other uses for the product, but acne was our primary focus in the beginning. And so that's when I met Stu and the other founders. And we just have been working as a team to perfect this product. And it's a completely different vehicle than NoxyPure for neuropathy. It's easy to use. It's super convenient. It's basically like having hyperbaric oxygen therapy at home in a convenient way.
Oh, what a great description of that. I like how you said that. Now, how long have you been a dermatologist?
I finished training in 2002. So quite a while.
And was acne one of the main concerns that your clients had, or?
So it was kind of a focus that I liked. Unlike much of the dermatology community currently, I was in the minority in that I was focusing on medical dermatology, whereas many of my colleagues had kind of changed gradually their focus over to cosmetic dermatology as fillers and lasers became more advanced. And I still wanted to do the medical. And my favorite part of medical dermatology was acne because that's the one that affects the most. And, there's so many myths out there and it affects people's confidence and psychological well-being. And, it was just something where you could have a dramatic impact on people. And it was a common condition. So I could have a dramatic impact on many people. And so I just had a preference for medical derm, and acne was my favorite thing to treat.
It's so true. When you even have a few blemishes, you just feel your confidence is lower. You feel insecure. So guess what? I purchased AO2 Clear because I was having some hormonal breakouts. And I was like, help. And here I am, an esthetician. So my skin has to look, on point. And so I immediately purchased it, and it's helped so much. And I love using it. It's a part of my routine. And just so people know this, I purchased it with my own money. The product is sitting like right here because I was so excited about it. And as an esthetician and you as a dermatologist, you have your client that comes in and you can see they're so disheartened. They're so, they just don't know what to do. And it's just pure joy when you can help them. And nothing feels better when they come back and then their skin is clear and you can see their mood, their personality change. They're just lighter, happier. They're doing more things. They're doing more things socially. I don't know if you experienced that, but that's been my personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I struggled with acne and, I had everything at my fingertips, everything at my disposal. And I still would just get sort of occasional stuff, lower face, kind of hormonal type breakouts. And now I get nothing, nothing. And the only time I break out is when I've used the pouch for too long. I was like, oh, it's time for a new pouch. So it's just kind of ironic that after, 30 plus years of dealing with my own acne, I was involved in the treatment that solved it.
You mean when you use this pouch too long?
Yeah. So if I've used it a month and, the oxygen content decreases over time and you really shouldn't use it longer than 2-3 weeks, that's when I noticed that I would start to break out. I was like, oh, there's probably a lot less oxygen in here than there was in the beginning. It's time for a new pouch.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. That was actually one of my questions. Before we go into that, I would love for you to explain to the audience what exactly AO2 Clear is. And then one of my questions inside that was, what if I keep the cap off? Will it go flat? So it kind of ties into that.
Okay.
I'll answer the second part of that. How's that?
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the product is, as Stu mentioned, it's based on the physics of nanobubbles, which are super tiny. Like if you were to do the math, it's 10 to the -9 meters. So 1/1000th the size of the pore, the hair follicle. So that's the uniqueness of the technology. And nanobubbles have been out there in other fields, industry, farming, fracking, that kind of thing, but not in skincare. And that's where our nanophysicists sort of pioneered this industry. And the oxygen is in the nanobubble. So it's got this perfect delivery vehicle to get deep into your skin. Okay, so because those nanobubbles are so tiny, they travel well, they penetrate deep into the pores. Then the next question is, why is oxygen useful? And oxygen has a million benefits for the skin, but in our focus, the first was oxygen targets the bacteria that trigger acne because that bacteria doesn't do well in an oxygen-rich environment. So if you can get oxygen into the base of those pores, it basically acts as a natural antibiotic without any of the issues of antibiotics. And then the second reason is the earliest form of acne, the comedo or the blackhead, is a result of improper turnover of the lining of the hair follicle. And that problem is aggravated by a lack of oxygen. So once that pore becomes blocked, then that clumping occurs increasingly and you're never getting oxygen in there, and you've got a blackhead. And then the bacteria come in, the oil's involved. Now you got food for that bacteria, and you get a pimple. So we're targeting two causes of acne, one being the turnover issue and the other being the bacterial issue. And that's not to mention that oxygen also has indirect anti-inflammatory properties, which is another part of the acne process. So those are kind of the reasons it works well for acne. Now, we've discovered since we launched the product that it does well for other things like promoting healing after a procedure or just making your skin look smoother and brighter. And that has to do with the fact that oxygen assists with turnover in general. So it improves cellular metabolism. It helps with your cell turnover. So helps generate new cells, keep your other cells healthy. And for that reason, your complexion is just going to look brighter as a result. And it also stimulates fibroblasts, which are the cell type that produces collagen. So you've got things working in the dermis, which is where the collagen is. You've got things working in the epidermis, which is where the turnover issue is corrected. And then things working in the pores, which is our focus for acne. So that's kind of the basis of how it works. And I'll let Stu answer the question about the.
And I smiled when you said collagen. I was like, "Ooh, collagen!"
Yep.
'Cause I'm 47, and I'm like, I need all the fibroblasts, collagen that I can have.
Yeah, the longer you use it, the more benefits you're going to get, because that obviously is something that would be more visible after long-term use.
Right, of course. Okay, Stu. So if you would need. Let me ask you this. Is this similar to like an oxygen facial? Like if you got an oxygen facial?
Similar, but let me kind of explain to you how the Ao2 works from an application perspective. So we offer Ao2 in 30-day increments, and we ask that you use Ao2 twice daily after you wash your face. Each pouch contains 30 applications. And so that's approximately 15 days of use. And you'll take a sponge. You'll take one of these little sponges, and you'll saturate your sponge and apply it twice daily after you wash your face, and you let it air dry. Now, as Valerie mentioned earlier, this is like a can of soda. Okay, there's a lot of pressure in the nanobubbles, and that negative pressure of them bouncing off against each other is what allows them to sink into your pores, to flood your pores. Okay, and what happens is once you open the pouch, right, the maximum efficacy is good for about 21 days. So that's why we say use it twice daily for the 15 days that this pouch is good for. And if you miss one or two, it goes to about 21, and then you want to move on to your next pouch. So some of the good habits that we have is sometimes people write the date on the back of their pouch so they know that when they opened it. And then once that 21 days is over, you move on to your next pouch. So that's the secret.
I was thinking just at a business perspective that as soon as it's delivered, Ao2 Clear needs to send an email to that person in 21 days and like, hey, it's up, time for your new one. But that's also the reason to get a subscription, because you don't have to think about it. And yeah.
That is 100% true.
Now, it's only when you open it, right? Because I have a few stocked up.
Yeah, the shelf life on Ao2 unopened is approximately a year.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I just have two.
And there's a little manufacturing date on the back, so you know exactly when it was made. And to be honest, I mean, we're a new company, we're young. We make them and we ship them, so it's you're getting your shipment of a product that was made the same day or week that you ordered it. So that's how fast we're making it and shipping it out.
Does it need to be in a certain type of temperature or environment, or?
Well, once you open it, room temperature is fine. We suggest putting it in the refrigerator for a couple of different reasons. Everything lasts a bit longer in the refrigerator, so that's one reason. But when you use the product and it's really cold, it feels really good, especially if you have some inflammation and whatnot going on. It feels really good.
I was about to say that would be oh, it's like reminds me of my ice rollers. You just put it on your inflamed skin. Yeah, for sure.
One of our customers described it as walking out in a fresh mountain air environment and when the snow has just fallen. And that's kind of the way that they described it.
That is a nice explanation. I feel when I use it, I just feel clean. I just do. There's just this, and I will say this, you get a little addicted to it because I know I have my skincare, I'm pretty strict. I have my whole step routine, but I'm like, I just want to reach for that and do my little routine. And every time I use it, I'm like, oh, I got it all. I just feel like I got it all. And I wanted to talk to you about routines because I like to double cleanse. And Stuart, we talked about this earlier, but I wanted to explain to the audience. People like to, I'm a believer in doing a double cleanse. So would this replace the second cleanse, or do you still use 2 cleansers and then do this? What do you think about that?
I'm going to let Valerie answer that question because
Okay,
she
Dr.
is
Hanft.
the doctor. She's the MD.
So I generally recommend after cleansing, if you are somebody who wants to minimize your steps, this can replace the second cleanse. But you definitely need to cleanse at least once. Now, having said that, for the teenage boys who won't do anything, this is better than nothing. They're at least getting the oil off. If they're not going to bother with a cleanser, this is better than nothing. But I would say after whatever cleansing routine you're doing, allow your skin to be, apply this and then allow your skin to air dry. And then you can continue with what other steps you normally do. And if that's nothing, that's nothing. That's fine. It can be used alone or in conjunction.
I have a couple questions about that. Could you do, if you wanted to have a really lazy skincare removal day, because we all want those, could you just do a micellar wash first and then do AO2 clear after that?
This is better than micellar water. So, and it feels very similar, but this is doing more on a microscopic level. So I would say it would replace the micellar water. Now, if that's the cleanser type agent that you prefer, then you can stay with that and then apply this afterwards.
Okay. And then also, can you use, or what are your thoughts about acne clients or acne people who have, they're using a glycolic or salicylic acid? Can they use that prior to AO2 clear? Would that interfere with anything, or do they work in well with each other?
You can combine this with any other product. The only thing that gets a little tricky is a toner, just because, you're putting something on that you're wiping on generally, and then you're putting AO2 clear, which has a sponge application. So I usually say replace a toner with AO2 clear, but any other product can be used in conjunction. As long as you've allowed the AO2 clear to dry, then you can apply whatever other products you normally do. What I found personally is that I had a lot of trouble using Retin-A, topical retinoids. I mean, just for decades I've tried and encountered a lot of irritation, and I know retinoids are just such a good, healthy thing for your skin. And this is the first time in 30 years that I've been able to tolerate a retinoid consistently. I can use the strongest percentage of prescription Retin-A nightly, when before I couldn't tolerate an over-the-counter retinol twice a week. And this was another unexpected finding, unexpected benefit. But it makes sense. Oxygen helps your skin heal, and retinoids are a mild irritant, and that applies with glycolics and salicylics and anything else that could be mildly irritating. AO2 clear makes your skin more tolerant of them.
Wow. Okay. That is very interesting. So it's healing your skin in between using those products.
And that goes back to, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. The original use for that, or one of the common uses for it, is in non-healing wounds. And you're delivering oxygen to help that wound heal. So this is happening on, a very skin-based level, not deep wounds, but in your bathroom instead of a chamber.
And we're hearing a lot of customers, after they wash their face and then they apply the AO2, and that air drying takes about 2 minutes, and then they put on their next product. They're having more success with that next product, whether that be a moisturizer or as Valerie was explaining, the Retin-A. It basically you're priming your face for the next application with something that's very clean.
And you can continue your acne products too, or if they were, if they were using something special for that.
Doesn't interact with anything, only improves the use of other products, and even helps people get better application with their makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Because the texture is improved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What about if you have open acne or open wounds on your skin or cuts? Can you still use it?
Yes, you can. Again, that's the healing property of oxygen. My only caveat with that is, if you have an open wound, it can get infected. We don't want people using this on something that needs, a wound culture and directed antibiotics. So on an undiagnosed wound, we don't want people using Ao2 Clear. You should see your dermatologist, make sure it's nothing else that needs more targeted therapy. A different bacteria could be involved. But for the routine stuff, if you have a pimple that you picked or, something like that, it is fine to use, and it will actually accelerate healing.
I was about to say, I know people listening, and we know you're not supposed to pop your pimples, but we know you do. So I was just thinking you could just dab a Q-tip and then go in there and get, just clean it out with that. I was thinking it reminds me of the old way of doing hydrogen peroxide when you kind of put it on, but this you would use Ao2 Clear instead. You just kind of clean it out.
Yep. So instead of using sort of the circular exfoliating motion, I would just dab with the sponge. If you have an area that's irritated or if you have very sensitive skin, just dab.
We're talking about 2 ingredients. We're talking about distilled water, so it's very clean, and oxygen nanobubbles. So, to put it onto your face, to put it onto an open pimple, I get acne still, and that's how I treat it, and goes away very quickly.
And Stuart, let's talk about your story because you suffered with rosacea for a while, and you have such an interesting story with your own personal skin story. So I'd love to hear about that and how Ao2 helped you as well.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And this is why I got excited about the product when I first got involved and started thinking about skincare with my co-founder and with Valerie and with the nanophysicist. And again, the team's still all together today. We're all together. We're still working on more products. But I've suffered from rosacea for over 20 years. And I've probably been on doxycycline for most of those 20 years. And that was the only way to get my redness and my, the pustules to calm down, was to take a massive dose of doxy on a regular nightly basis. And as Valerie reminds me every time, she goes, "Your gut must be a mess."
Oh, yeah.
I've tolerated it. But anyway, since I've been using Ao2, and I was one of the early guinea pigs. I've been using it for over 3 years now, and I am 95% off of my doxycycline since I've been using Ao2, and I don't get the redness and the pustules that I used to have. It's really changed the way that I take care of my skin, and I don't have to take the doxy, which I think is a good thing.
So do you just do this? What is your skincare routine? Do you do this twice a day? And then, Valerie's laughing at you already. Dr. Hanft's like, I already know what it is.
Yes. As discussed many times with the doctor, I wash my face with a bar of soap from Trader Joe's. Now it's good. It's got a little oatmeal in it and all that good stuff. And then when I get out of the shower after washing my face, I apply Ao2 twice daily. Sometimes I use it a little bit more. We have these little travel packs also that I keep in my briefcase or on my desk. And when I need to freshen up, on the plane, I grab one of these and put it on. And people are like, "You sweating?" I'm like, "Nope, just feeling fresh." And then after it air dries, 2 minutes later, I'm good.
I love the travel packs. And wow, you just said a great thing. After you get off a flight, your skin feels just nasty. I don't know. It just feels gross. I don't know another word. And you just want to clean everything off. So I love that you could take this on the go and just freshen up. And I was even thinking while you're saying that, I spray hypochlorous acid after I work out, but I would even feel fresher if I could do this and the hypochlorous acid. I just think that would be a good combination to just get that bacteria, that sweat off your skin.
Totally. We have a lot of parents write in about their kids and how they're applying it. And we have a lot of athletes that use the product, these parents are writing about, and they'll be wearing a helmet or they'll be sweating and their forehead is a mess, right? From wearing a helmet or whatnot. And they're using this, and right after they get off the practice field, like Valerie said earlier, they might not wash their face, but at least they're getting one of these and they're putting it on, or they're carrying the pouch in their gym bag and just applying it. And again, we're hearing those types of success stories for adolescents, and all the way up. So everybody still gets acne. It's crazy.
Such a great, easy product for teenagers to use. And moms who are listening to this, they're going to be just in such relief because it's so hard. And I remember having, not to put the boys down, but my toughest clients were the teenage boys because they just don't want to do anything. And so I once had one teenage boy I was working on, and he just put the sheet over his face like mid facial. And I was like, I can't even work. He was like, I'm done. So I thought this is such a game changer. And I love how the moms can just take it to, for instance, my nephew, he plays soccer. So he is a hot, sweaty mess afterwards. And this would be so nice to give to my sister. Just here, take these travel packets and then just wipe them off right afterwards. That would be great. And then travel, I like under the cap. I mean, I'm even thinking you could use it under your arms and your body just to get,
I think a future iteration of the product will market it with larger sponges for body application.
This is what I do. I use one side for my face, and then I actually flip it over, and then I do my neck, décolleté, I bring it down to my arms and everything. So I don't know if you've heard that before, but that's what I do.
I actually do it, under my bangs instead of, a mattifying gel or just coming in from outside in Austin in the summer, you just get a little bit sweaty just from walking from the car, and I will use it then. So
you said you use it on your bangs?
I use it under my bangs, when your skin gets oily over the course of the day.
I'm thinking I'm going to try this. I don't know if anybody's tried this, but for us who get our hair blown out and it gets oily the next few days, I wonder if I could use a little bit of this instead of having to wash my hair. I'm going to try that out to see if it'll remove.
I haven't had anybody try it, but I can't see why that wouldn't help.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. So Stuart, I know that when you have rosacea, your skin is super sensitive. And there is a sponge. And the sponge to me is also exfoliating. So how would somebody who has sensitive skin use that sponge, and can they use it twice a day still if they do have sensitive skin?
Everybody's skin is different, as you know, and so you're going to learn how much exfoliation you want to put into this, or if you want to just damp it on, just dab, get it on the skin. I use it pretty aggressively because I feel like it helps in certain places. But if I have something that's irritated, I'll just make sure my sponge is saturated. One thing to remember is use the sponge once, only once. If you reuse the sponge, you are spreading bacteria. Okay, so always use a clean, fresh sponge each time. And we've had customers come back and say, "Oh, it made my face break out." And I said, "Are you using the same sponge over and over again?" And they'll say, "Yeah." And
I thought that would just be a given, but
there's all types of people out there.
I know. Oh my goodness. So just see what your skin can tolerate. And with that said, if you're using a glycolic or salicylic, note that you're also exfoliating your skin. So you may need to reduce that step because the sponge is going to exfoliate your skin, and we don't want to overstrip the skin barrier. So I would just say maybe you could back off on using some of your acne products if you feel it's too sensitive. I wish I had this when I had my C-section. I wish I had this product so I could have done that after my C-section. So many things you could use this for.
It is, oxygen is a hammer, and there are a lot of nails out there, but We do have a lot of skincare professionals who use it post-procedure in clinic when they patient finishes, they apply it, and then they send them home with the kit. So we do have a program for skincare professionals as well.
Oh, you do? Okay. That is really good to know. So they would just contact you on your website and they could become a retailer and provider. Okay, perfect. Stuart, you were going to share with me before this podcast. And I said, hold on. I want you to share the story on the podcast about someone who it's made a big difference in their skin. So one of your clients or purchasers.
So we get a lot of customer feedback, and we always ask for a lot of customer feedback because the customer is, that's the pulse, and we know, what we're doing right and what we can improve. And so we're always listening. Right. So we sent out a survey a few months ago to some of our regular customers and asked them, why they like Ao2 and what they're using it for and whatnot. And as I said before, we have a lot of customers who buy it for their children. So we had one customer, one mom, who we sent the email to, and she actually forwarded the email to her daughter at college. And they both answered the survey. And the daughter responded, her first thing that she said is, I have all the confidence in the world now, because before I could not really go out and enjoy myself because I was so conscious about, the acne that I had on my face. And so I wasn't doing a lot of things. And she adhered to using it twice a day for, now it was, several months, and her skin had improved so much. And she was so grateful to us. And I'm like, wow, I'm not just selling a product, but I'm making a difference in people's lives. And just those types of things make you feel pretty good. And at the same time, the mom came back and said, thank you for restoring my daughter's confidence. And they did it separately. And you heard the same story and how grateful they were to have something that actually worked. And again, they made the commitment to use the product correctly, and they stuck with it, and the results are there. And we love hearing stories like that.
Oh, yeah. It just warms your heart. And you're like, this is why I do this, to hear that you made a difference. And such a wonderful product for kids to take to college because it's easy. You don't even have to have water nearby. I mean, it is your water. You could just have it, because I had a dorm room and you'd have to go down the hall. There's a shared bathroom. This I could have had just in my cabinet, pulled it out and done. That's great. Dr. Hanft, I want to ask you, would this help with if you had like dermatitis or anything like that? Or is it primarily for more acne?
So I think for most people, it will be soothing, but depending on what type of dermatitis it is, if it's a contact dermatitis or seborrheic dermatitis, there's more targeted therapy. So you really do want to see your dermatologist and make sure you're optimizing medical therapy, but it's not going to harm anything, and it's worth a try. You can possibly dodge a prescription. Again, the caveat is if something is secondarily infected with a different bacteria, you definitely want that evaluated properly in a clinical setting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is so wonderful. Do you guys have any other things that you would like to let the audience know about?
I would say in my marketing, pitch of and what I do is if you're looking for something that is super clean and effective when used appropriately, Ao2 is worth giving it a try. And we want to help promote a healthy skincare routine for people with sensitive skin and people looking to just get a better glow. If we weren't on a podcast, I'd tell you that I'm really 75 years old. So
You look great. You look great. Yeah, absolutely. You guys have been so generous to give our audience a code. So it's LaPree20 for 20% off. So thank you so much. And I'm just honored that you were here today to share this, and just thank you for sharing this wonderful product that is just so innovative and honestly just easy to use. Like that should be one of the taglines. It's just really easy to use, but it has effective and just great results. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate the offer.
All right, thank you for listening. And if you like this show and you want to continue learning about clear skin and what works well, you will also love my interview with Dr. Yug Varma. He is with Phyla Probiotics, and you will hear the breakthrough that he discovered, and that is on episode 168. So thank you always for tuning in. I greatly appreciate your time in choosing me as your online esthetician. I do not take that for granted or lightly, and I just so grateful that you let me guide you along your skincare journey. And I love finding the best of the best and bringing it to you. So tune in next week for more skin and beauty information. And it would mean so much to me if you would be able to rate and review the show so I can bring on more valuable guests. So just scroll down to the ratings section, and I read every single review and cherish them so much. Thank you again. And I will see you next week. Until next time.